Okay, so welcome everybody to my virtual opening. Please imagine, if you could, that I'm not, in fact, in Newburyport, Massachusetts at my studio, but I'm at Addison Gallery in Orleans, Massachusetts on Cape Cod. If you have any interest in any of this work, or you're intrigued by it, or you have any questions, please get in touch with Helen at the Addison Gallery. I also would like you to know that some of the proceeds of this show are going to be donated to the Wellfleet Harbor Actors Theater on the Cape. It's something very dear to my heart because actors really need our help right now. All artists do, but particularly actors out of work. And since my son is an actor, and I also have a very, very dear friend who unfortunately just passed away, who was involved with the Wellfleet Harbor Actors Theater, I hope that you will keep that in mind when you come to my show. So welcome, come on in. I'm going to start with something that's really Cape Cod oriented. They're really part of a body of work that I produced several years ago. It's been a lifelong interest of mine to make things very, very small and very detailed. These saltworks were found on Cape Cod along my beach, Corporation Beach in Dennis, and I made a model of it to show exactly how it worked. Through wind power, it would pump salt water up into these vats, which would then dry out the water. And then when the salt was evaporated, you would move the cover over here to cover up the salt that was already dried up and ready to go. So everything is pretty much found or repurposed. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go over to Short Span over here and show you a different industry. It shows you how a semicircular stone bridge is made. I researched this and I found out that an armature has to go underneath it first. And what I've done is I've set it up so it looks like it was produced in another world altogether. Very primitive ways of lifting up stones to stick them on. I have a little netting down here, which was sort of a compositional addition because it completes the circle. So it's very quizzical at the same time that it's quite logical, but the smallness of it brings you in, and then you get kind of stuck on it trying to figure out how it works. So that's the playful side of these pieces. So here we have another piece from my small business exhibition, which is kind of playful, but at the same time it's rather serious. It's a coal tipple. A coal tipple is actually a primitive way of getting coal out of the earth and then putting it into a structure that would dump it into a transportation vehicle that would take it away. But during the Depression, people would make these tipples in a really sort of a shoddy way to get the job done as quickly as possible. So I'm playing with the idea of something that worked, but something that doesn't work, something that is abandoned. So you're drawn into the sort of the minutia of this and the charm of it, but then you realize, what's going on here? And that was really the whole point of this series of sculptures that I did.
The painting!
The painting! No. Okay, so I have to explain that I only use black paint on a gessoed surface on board, so I can push away the white. So this is all rubbed away to find the surface underneath. This is called Endless. It was a really risky composition. I normally don't do something that's so central and so sort of frame within the frame. Imagine what's beyond, and that's why I call it Endless. Let's go! Yeah, right. So passing through. It's about something coming through the frame and out. Because I believe a lot of the stuff that really happens outside of a painting is what the painting suggests might be happening outside of it. Like, this points to something here, that points to something there, and yet there's an interrelationship between all of the compositional elements within it. But it really is about movement, it's about change, it's about transition. And yeah, I didn't know what to do down here. I wanted ocean, but I ended up really surprising myself, which is what happens a lot with painting, is that I didn't know what I was going to do, and suddenly I did a couple marks down here and it worked. So I was really happy with this one. Yeah, this one's called Slick, which is kind of a weird name for it, but it refers to this area down here, which at the same time that it's something that's really horrible, to me it was kind of beautiful the way it reflected the sky. So, and this one was a challenge as well because normally oceanscapes are horizontal. So I wanted to squeeze all the information into a real strong vertical, and so I think it really works because it's divided into three. 1, 2, and then 3. So yeah, I was really happy with that painting. And the two other small ones. So here we have Light Wave. I'm not going to explain it because I think it's pretty self-explanatory. And then I think this little wave, which has a kind of a moody, lonely feeling about it. Well, it's sort of my favorite too in some ways because it's so active and it's so dynamic. It was pretty challenging to do. It's a wave being interrupted, which is what a lot of my work is about anyway. It's about those things that are transitory, those things that are not fixed, those things that are nebulous and not solid.
The movement off the water almost looks like smoke.
Yeah, it has an ambiguity about it like that. Someday I'm going to do smoke paintings. I can't wait to do smoke paintings.
Ooh. This one almost has the same centrality to it as Endless, the larger piece.
Yes, it does, except it's thrown off a little bit by this angle. And then over here, this is my favorite painting. I think a lot of people have their own favorite painting, but it was really, really tough to get this one right, and I just felt so wonderful about it because it was a turbulent time when I was painting it, but it calmed me to do it and really get totally disciplined with the way water works. Hi again, cornered.
I wonder why it's called that.
That can't guess. I just knew what I wanted to do with this painting and it just really flowed real quick. Yeah, I really like it. I hope you do too. So painting on aluminum is a real challenge, but I love it because it makes me try extra hard to get it right. You can see that this is a lot of very fine work, and a lot of the work that I do is with my fingernail. So all the white that you see is basically drawn in like that. I put a paper towel on my fingernail and I take away the surface. But the real challenge about aluminum, you can see it's aluminum, mounted on wood, is that you put the paint on and it falls off. It's really, really slippery. It makes you work harder when you have a more challenging surface to work on, which I've always believed in. It's just a way of challenging myself, but the results that I get out are really satisfying to me. Thank you so much for coming to my opening, my virtual opening. I just want to thank a couple people first. Thank you, Helen, for giving me this opportunity to show my work. I'm really grateful to you. I'm also grateful to Polly Milsendron for doing the filming and for Hannah Foster for helping me with the setup, and Mark Sendron for the champagne. Thank you. Bye. I just want to end though. I forgot to tell you about Billingsgate. So Billingsgate is a tribute to a place in the middle of Cape Cod Bay. It's a shoal that I don't think I've ever been to, but it's kind of mythical in my mind. This is a tribute to Billingsgate. It's oil on aluminum.